What is up, everybody out in the... What is up, everybody out there in the YouTube universe? Coach Rob here, and you're not going to believe this one, man. You're not going to believe this. I'll go ahead and tell you, since we're friends. I just did this video, and it didn't turn out. I did something stupid with my audio settings. So I get done with this video. Not that I've ever been overly pleased with one of my videos, but I did it, and I'm loading it in the computer to edit that thing and get it out there to you guys, and then no audio. Well, there was a little bit of audio, but it wasn't loud enough, and there was this horrible hiss behind it, and it just sounded like total crap. So here I am again trying to replicate what I just did. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm sure it's going to be completely different, because it was another one of these deals where I came in here completely off the cuff, just inspired, and turned on the camera and whatever. So let's give it a whirl. There has been a huge uptick recently in followers of this channel. So thank you if you're one of my recent followers. Well, thank you to everybody who's a follower. But in the last 30 or so days, according to my YouTube report that I get, that talks about my channel's performance, apparently recently, there's been a big uptick in views and new subscribers. So thank you if you're one of those new subscribers. Thank you if you're an old subscriber from way back in the day and you still can't figure out why you're still a subscriber. You're clinging on for dear life, expecting things to get better over here, even though they probably won't, but you're still going to stick by me and remain a loyal follower of this channel. To you, I say thank you sincerely. Now, share the damn thing with all of your friends, all your enemies, everybody, all your coworkers. Put it in a mass email in the office. Get in trouble. Doesn't matter. You're doing a service to help push this channel forward. I had a comment the other day. Speaking of comments, we're going to get to that. I had a comment the other day, and this is like I don't know. This has happened multiple times where somebody said, I'm surprised this channel isn't bigger. I'm surprised you don't have more followers. Well, thank you very much. I would love to have more. Thank you. So do your part if you're watching this, and share this with others and tell them by gunpoint, knife point, whatever, that they need to subscribe to this channel to help me push this out into the YouTube stratosphere to other like-minded people that may enjoy these shenanigans. Speaking of comments, there are some kooks in the comments. And recently, well, it's funny. In a very recent video, in fact, the last one that I uploaded last week, someone messaged me, or no, they put it in the comments that I should consider shaving my beard because said beard makes me look, I hope you're sitting down, 20 years older than I am. Me being double nickels, 55 years old, that means that they are in essence saying that I look 75. I don't think I look 75, but if this epic mane of manliness makes me look 75, so be it. I'll take it. However, you need to understand, guys, can I have a moment with the guys? All you men out there, lean in. Did you know that a good beard gets you 20 extra pounds on every lift? If you got an epic beard, you got 20 more pounds on your bench, you got 20 more pounds on your deadlift, and you got 27 more pounds on your squat. This is science. So to the commenter who suggested that I should shave these epic locks of manliness, to you I say, I think not. And though from the neck up, these whiskers may make me or give me the appearance of age, we call that more distinguished. Beyond that, and far more importantly, Mrs. Goodwin likes it. And at the end of the day, should I really continue? Does it matter beyond that? And then one more thing, though my beard, because of the salt and pepper awesomeness of it, may make me look older, from the neck down, I argue that I may look 20 pounds younger than many out there because of my hyper carnivore, high intensity training physique that I'm sporting after many, many decades of hard training and meticulous diet. Speaking of that, as we move on, because I always get two people that say, get on with it. They don't like all this small talk horse shit before I get to the point. Hey, you know what? Tough shit. If you don't like it, no, I'm not gonna be mean. Thank you for sticking around. I'm about to get to the point. This is important. I have a program called High Intensity Training. High intensity training is the style of training that I have used for nearly 30 years. It's tried and true. It's effective. It works. It's what I used back in the hardcore 90s bodybuilding culture that I grew up in, that I was heavily steeped in. And I used it again when I decided at the ripe old age of 46 that I was going to jump on the other side and actually stand on stage and compete in bodybuilding competition. And I went back to my old school roots of high intensity training. And that style of training is what gave me the ability to have multiple class wins in bodybuilding competition in the NPC and ultimately make it to nationals and competed amongst the best 50-plus-year-old bodybuilders in the freaking country and placed top 6. Could have done even better, but that's another video. So if you are interested in pure hypertrophy, that means muscle growth, style training to maximize your genetic potential, check out my $19 a month. Yeah, it's that stupidly cheap. High intensity training program. You get new workouts every single week, a minimum of 4-day split, pro split, that maximizes your genetic potential to help you build the greatest amount of muscle in the least amount of time possible. Check it out. I think you'll dig it. I love it. I think it's the best value in training that there is out there, and I stand by that. Try it for a month. If you don't like it, cancel the damn thing. But so far, the reviews are hot, and everybody's digging it, and you cannot beat the price. It's stupid cheap. So quit screwing around and join today. Thank you. Rant over. Let's get back to the program. Some people in the comments do some crazy shit. There was a video that I did, God, I don't, it was maybe a year ago. I don't even remember. I suck with that kind of stuff. It was about Vince Gironda. And all I did, it was one of the most misunderstood videos I've ever done, hands down. No, the most misunderstood video. All I did was mention in that video that the legendary bodybuilder / bodybuilding coach, Vince Gironda, from back in the golden era of bodybuilding, back in, pre even Arnold's time, advocated the usage of steak and eggs as a viable, super productive food source for putting on mass and optimizing genetic potential. Many in that video chime in, here we are back to the comments, telling me, oh, you didn't do this justice, that you don't know anything about Vince Gironda. This was not some expose treatise, documentary on the life and times of Vince Gironda. It was just me mentioning that this guy who had an amazing physique without tons and tons of ridiculous amounts of gear and performance enhancing drugs was able to maximize his genetics utilizing, among other things, a steak and egg diet. There was a period of time where he did this 36 egg diet approach for a certain amount of time. And he was able to do amazing things and extended that knowledge to some of the best bodybuilders in history during that time to help maximize their physique. So it was just kind of a hats off that even back in those days, all those years ago, one of the legends of the early bodybuilding world advocated the usage of red meat and eggs as a primary staple of their nutritional ideology. But within the comments recently, out of nowhere, this video's been out a while, and I get the notification that somebody, this particular gentleman, who's actually seemed, even though he was very misled and very misguided, ended up being, kind of joking back and forth with me a little bit in the comments after we kind of dueled it out a little bit. Essentially, his comment was, you have to have carbs. You have to have carbs frequently throughout the day, for they are the pinnacle of energy production within the body, i.e. to fuel muscular contractions. Now, the irony of this is I'm the guy that gets attacked regularly by the carnivore, zealot, cultist, whack fucking jobs out there who are no better than half the vegans, because I advocate the occasional usage of carbohydrates for many of my clientele and those who put their faith and trust in me to help them break through an issue with their nutritional protocol, because there are some things in the mix that are causing some detriment. Let me go on record by saying there is zero need for carbohydrate to sustain life. Let me repeat myself. There is zero need, zero amounts of carbs needed to sustain life. That is a physiological fact. If you go without protein for a certain amount of time, ultimately you will die. If you go a particular amount of time without dietary fat, you will die. However, you can go the remainder of your existence and never eat another damn gram of carbohydrate and sustain life. Some will sustain quality life, optimized life. Some, though they may sustain life and live a very, very long time without any exogenous intervention of carbohydrate, will still live. Now, with that said, I still advocate the usage of a small amount of carbohydrates for many, not all. Relax, pull your panties out of your butt. Can you tell I'm tired of it? We have learned over the course of time, since this keto wave that really ignited back in 2015, and I've been doing this shit since like 2009, 2010, and before that, very primal, paleo diet. We have learned, as I predicted we would over the course of time, that we would discover that long-term ketosis is probably not optimal for most people. We have learned that a strict carnivore diet of nothing but cooked muscle meat, salt, and water over an extended period of time is not optimal for many, if not most. That people who are doing OMAD, one meal a day, for a very long sustained period of time are now seeing detrimental effects of that. It might be, if not for most, is not an optimal approach for most people. We're learning that too much fasting can be detrimental and not a good thing for most. Too much intermittent fasting, too much chronic fasting, so many things. I have literally built a career on people coming to me to help rescue them from these issues. If I had to put a number on it, I would say, just off the top of my head, that 70% of the people that I work with, and there's been a lot, have alleviated many of these symptoms. Performance issues, men, the reduction of testosterone and the elevation of SHBG, which is bad. Plateaued weight loss and fat loss, body composition changes in their favor. Women, especially, thyroid issues, the conversion of T4 to T3, which is not a good thing. Their hair's falling out. They're having a lot of issues, performance issues, so many things that I get inundated with by people, real people, who have exhausted every effort to try to alleviate some of these horrific side effects of long-term ketosis, long-term caloric deficits, long-term OMAD, long-term chronic fasting. None of these things are bad if done properly in the right amounts. I've said this before, you could argue that in the culture we live in today is really the first time in our human history that people are subsisting only on cooked muscle meat, salt, and water. This is a new thing. This is not ancestral health. That is not what our ancestors did. You could definitely argue that many of them were low carb, but they weren't zero carb. And now the cream is rising to the surface and we're discovering some things. So yes, from a physiological level, there is zero need for carbohydrate by the human body to sustain life. But is it optimal for everyone? And I would argue strongly that it is not. Now, you're going to get your genetic outliers that do just fine. There's some of you out there right now who are going, I do great on zero carb. Well, that's great. To you, I say, pay attention. Keep doing what you're doing. If you are thriving on your current nutritional and training protocol, don't change an effing thing. But I will also argue that you are probably an outlier. So congratulations. But for the multitude of people that come to me very regularly saying, hey, I was in ketosis for months and things started falling apart. I was in a caloric deficit for months, things started falling apart. I did OMAD for months, things started falling apart. I started doing way too much chronic intermittent fasting. Things are now falling apart. Everything has stopped. Things have now going from great to common to worse. To you, I say, I've seen this dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And often we do one of two things: pull you out of a caloric deficit or an energy deficit, whatever the hell you want to call it. Nourish you for a time, or we introduce a small, specific amount of carbohydrates, the ones that you tolerate based on experimentation, in the right amounts, at the right times, in the right frequency. And we very often see a dramatic change for the good. I am not Paul Saladino. I like the guy. I like his stuff. He's a good dude. But I'm not suggesting that everybody out there slam a whole shit-ass ton of fruit and honey every freaking day. He is a genetic outlier, to be sure. He's naturally genetically lean. He's extremely active. He lives closer to the equator. He's in Costa Rica. Damn right. He's living the damn dream. And I'm sure he can tolerate more than your average Joe living that grind, who's trying to recover from weeks, months, decades, or a lifetime of abuse of too many refined carbohydrates, Western diets, seed oils, processed foods, whatever. And now there is a shit ton of damage that needs to be corrected. So yeah, the protocol generally for those of you is greatly reduce carbohydrate, eliminate seed oils completely, eliminate processed foods, prioritize protein, bring in fat according to your goals, output, and level of body fat and body composition. Focus on regular sunlight, avoid environmental toxins and blue light stimulation, focus on recovery and sleep, make sure that you're sleeping well between the hours of 10 and 2 a.m. The list goes on and on. I talk about this kind of shit frequently. And if you're one of my clients, I talk about it like I'm a broken record. So yes, while there is zero physiological need for carbohydrate, Mr. Commenter who told me there is, you are fucking wrong. There is zero need for them to sustain life, but to sustain optimal life performance and genetic optimization, your results may vary. We don't all dress alike. There is a different need for many of you. I see it every day. I talk on this channel and on podcasts, my podcast, which is basically this YouTube channel regurgitated into audio format for those who just like to do audio podcasts. I give you what I really think works, what works based on experience and what others have done. I'm not selling you some book for $29.95 and I never interact with you and you buy my shit and you're gone and I just make a bunch of money and I'm making my Porsche payment. No, on the contrary, I am a coach. And the information that I relay to you in this format had better be consistent and it better be truthful, because if you decide to put your trust and faith in me and start working with me as your coach, if I start saying otherwise, then you should call bullshit and you would fire my ass. As well you should. I'm going to tell you what I think works based on 30 years experience in the trenches, not what is hot, cool, sexy, and trendy at the moment. I want you to succeed. I want you to thrive. I want you to achieve your greatest genetic potential. And if we do that together, we both win. I sleep good at night. I have earned my money. And you walk away satisfied with a new direction and a new outlook and a new existence, living optimally. And that may involve a small whack of fucking carbohydrates. Or it may be none. It totally depends. But back to the original point of this video, there are kooks in the comments. I love you all. Please don't hesitate. I know that there is going to be some negative comments. Joe Rogan said, never look at the comments. Joe Rogan has a $100 million contract with Spotify. If Joe Rogan never looked at another comment in his life, Joe Rogan would still be fine in his mansion. He has more money than he could spend in 5 lifetimes. I, on the other hand, do not. So it is within my best interest to reach out to those of you who do make comments that are worthy of reply, so I can continue to build my credibility with you and show you that my care for you is ultimately my measure of greatness. Right? So, all of this ranting and raving that I'm doing to say, yes, Mr. Commenter, please understand, this is basic 5th grade physiology. There is zero need for carbohydrate to sustain life. Look it up. This will take you 5 minutes to prove. Now, you're going to get your whack jobs out there who work for 3-letter government agencies that are going to tell you, oh, you need carbohydrate, 7 servings of whole grains and fruits and vegetables every day. Bullshit. They have been spoon-fed that indoctrination in a university in order to earn a certificate or a particular degree so they can go make money off of your failure. Wake up. Whatever any government or 3-letter government agency says to do, do the opposite. They do not have your best interest at heart. Centralized medicine is a total failure. If I break my leg, I'm going to the doctor. But the last person I'm going to for advice on my health, my longevity, my nutrition is an allopathic doctor. Unless they have done their separate due diligence and stepped outside the box and learned the truth of what really makes human beings thrive. You have to question everything, people. Just because there's a PhD out there doesn't mean they know shit. That just means they're a black belt in education. They're a black belt in being spoon-fed information from somebody else who has been indoctrinated by the system. Mike Mentzer once said brilliantly, PhD for many in the exercise science world, and I would say in the nutrition space, that PhD just stands for piled high and deep in bullshit. Question everything. Do your own research. Cholesterol, red meat, eggs, saturated fat. All these things we've heard for decades that are bad for us, turns out they're exactly the opposite. I haven't filled a prescription in 17 years. And that was for a pain medication because of an injury. Guess what I did with said pain medication? I took one, felt like shit, didn't like it, flushed the rest down the toilet. Now I'm going off on a weird rant, but the point of this video was to say, you're going to get some pretty silly stuff in the comments, and I welcome that. Bring that shit. Let's talk it out. But at the end of the day, we're learning, people. You're seeing it. You're here. You get it. I don't know everything. I'm the boots on the ground guy. I take a lot of this information, this cutting edge stuff that's coming down the pipeline, and I wade through it I get my hands dirty. I roll up my sleeves and I'm like, let's try this shit out. Let's apply it. And then based on the results that I have and my clients have and family have and friends have and what I see from others, in addition to some of the published literature that actually makes fucking sense and isn't complete horrific bullshit. Remember, you could probably find a study out there somewhere that says bunny farts cures cancer. Doesn't make it true. So keep doing that due diligence. Keep doing that research. Keep questioning everything. Surround yourself with people who, like myself, are going to go out there on the edge and say, walk me through this shit logically and rationally and make it make sense. And if it doesn't, and if I smell a rat, I'm going to let you know about it. That's all I got for today, people. I hope you enjoyed this. I don't even know what this was. But you people that keep sticking around for this stuff, hey, you'll never have to prove your worthiness to me in any other capacity. Good job. Maybe you need to get out more. I don't know. But anyway, train hard, diet harder, but do whatever you got to do to get out there in the sunlight, breathe that fresh air, and have a spectacular freaking day in the moment. I am out.